Of all the art forms, why did you choose puppetry to specialise in?
I've kind of always been fascinated by the art of puppetry, and I've found it to be one of the most challenging. So my background is in theatre and prop making, and although I really enjoyed those things, they didn't really scare me the way puppetry did, and I was attracted to the challenge of learning a new skill. So I started collecting a couple of marionettes, and a collection grew through this fascination, and I was lucky enough to get a job as a puppeteer, and it kind of went from there. When I moved from Ireland, I missed it so much that I promised myself I'd find a way to try and get involved in puppets again.
Most people, whether rightly or wrongly, view puppets as child's play. What would you say to that?
What would I say to that? We do get a lot of people coming into the shop saying, oh wow, these puppets are amazing, oh but you know, I'm too old for that sort of stuff. And we always say, you're never too old to do something that you love. If you enjoy it, why stop or feel odd about it? Where does it have an age that you say, okay, I like puppets yesterday, but now that I'm 30 I can't use those anymore? And if you look at the best puppeteers in the world, none of them are children. They're all adults who have dedicated their lives to puppetry, so it's definitely for the young and the old.
From the Puppet Story video, what was your favourite scene when you saw the first cut?
My favourite scene has to be when little Bonnie, our little skeleton marionette, skids across the floor and presses up against the wall, and we see the two worlds coming together, not close enough to ever actually meet, which I really love. And the reason why I like that one so much was because I wasn't quite sure how it would turn out. So we did take after take, and when I saw it, when they played it back, I thought, oh, I'm not really sure that's going to turn out very well. And then when I actually saw it in the first cut, I just couldn't stop laughing. It was my absolute favourite thing ever, and he was just so full of life and animation that it was brilliant.
And Bonnie, because?
Because they're made in the Czech Republic, and the guy that we get them from, his accent, it's actually baby Boney, like as in a bony body, but with his accent it's Bonnie, and that's the way he spelled it, so it's kind of just stuck. It's quite sweet.
Yeah, and is that what this picture in the background is connected to?
Yep, this is the Charles Bridge, and we travelled to Prague 5-6 times now, and each time we're just absolutely amazed by the culture of puppetry that they have over there. And when you walk across the Charles Bridge, just underneath it there's a fabulous little marionette shop. That's just, you can't see it in this photo, but we've gone there every time that we visit Prague, and they have the most wonderful handcrafted marionettes that are just, they're the best in the world. So we thought we'd pay some respect to Prague and the culture of puppets.
Is that where these puppets come from?
Yeah, all of our puppets bar one comes from Prague, or the Czech Republic, and we deal with 3 or 4 different suppliers, and 2 craftsmen, 2 wood carvers, who literally just kind of make and create on their own. And they make our high-end pieces, the one-offs, like a Harry Potter and a librarian. But these little guys that we have, like the little Bonnie and the big Bonnie, they all come from Prague too.
Rumour has it that you share puppeteering tips and tricks in your workshops and lessons.
We do. Some things we have to keep secret for our workshops and our lessons, but there's a couple of things that I can tell you, and I can tell some beginners or people who are just kind of interested in puppetry. So one thing is, get a mirror and put that on the floor, and don't look at yourself. Kind of, you know, when you go to buy a pair of shoes, you kind of flash the shoes and you go, yep, I'll have them, because you see them from a different angle. You should do the same with your puppets, so just watch the puppet in the mirror like somebody else would be watching it. And you won't really see yourself or focus on yourself, which is quite nice. But you'll also pick up little things that the puppet will do by accident, or that you'll make it do by accident. You'll think, oh, well, how did I do that? And you'll go over it and over it and over it again. And anytime I get a new puppet, that's what I do. I just spend ages just standing in front of a mirror with the puppet, going over the same things until I see what looks most natural. And another one is when people kind of, even when they come into the shop, they kind of pick up a puppet and they grab it by the arm and they kind of flick the arm as high up as they can, or they put this guy on and they really kind of overextend his head and his mouth. And it's really in the subtle kind of movements that you get quite a nice little lifelike appearance with the puppets. So when you're moving a hand on a string, rather than pulling the string really high and letting the hand drop, what we say is work within the natural space. So if it was a person, we don't talk with our arms kind of outstretched here and there, it looks really weird. So the same with the puppets, you kind of want to keep them in their own little kind of space, and as I talk now, my hand doesn't really go out here, it stays here where it's natural and real. And when people do that and they subtly move the strings gently just a little bit, it really changes how the puppet looks and how real it is. So there's a couple of secrets for you.
Just now, is it possible if you could just put Godzilla here,
Yeah.
just sideways on,
Yeah.
or maybe the other way if it feels more comfortable to you, and can you mimic, how do you make him walk, or what do you do with your arm to make just even the movement look natural?
This guy, when I do little videos with him, because he's not a rod puppet, if he was, it would be a lot easier to have rods attached to the back of his feet, so he could, you know, get a really good movement to him. But because one of my hands is busy at the moment, and the other one it would kind of take away if I was filming and you could see my hand here, what I do is, if I'm filming, I bring the camera back here and I kind of waddle. I never show the end of his feet. I kind of just bring him from side to side and I turn his head. So really the focus is always just up on the really nice detail flowing up to his head, because that's where the most amount of movement will be, rather than kind of here.
That's where the articulation
Exactly,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you always focus on what can the puppet do really well. Well, this one can move his head and he can roar and all that sort of stuff. If we focused on his legs, he'd be a little bit dull.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. What is the most important feature on a puppet?
For me, the most important feature on a puppet would have to be the face. Purely because it doesn't matter how well a puppet can move, if the face doesn't attract people, they will never be able to connect with it, or be able to kind of feel what the puppet is trying to portray. If you can get a nice face on a puppet, that is the most important thing. When people come into the shop, they're not drawn to the ones that move really well. They're drawn to the ones that have the wrinkles and the scrunched up eyes and the little kind of the sad face, and they're attracted to the ones that look like real characters, and they don't realise why they're attracted to those ones. They just go, oh, look at those, they're so lovely, but it's all down to the face, for me anyway.
At the end of the video, you do say you do parties, workshops and therapy. Would you like to maybe expand a bit more on the therapy side of things?
Yeah, so with puppets, it kind of goes with the whole, puppets aren't just for children, they're for everybody. And people don't realise how powerful puppetry can be as a healing tool, as a communication tool, and as an educational tool. So we'll go into schools and we'll do workshops with them. We'll go into homes with people who suffer from dementia and Alzheimer's. We'll go into homes where people just want a little bit of entertainment and something different. And what we do is we take some of our finest puppets, so we'll take our Big Bonnie, we'll take our dog, we'll take our Annie, we'll take the ones that are really colourful and bright and emotive, and we'll bring them to life for people who have never seen that kind of stuff, young and old. And something that's very near to my heart is working with people with Alzheimer's because of my nan. I got the idea because I brought my puppets to her one day when she was in the home, and she just completely changed. She lit up, she was totally engrossed by this little character that I brought up, and to see somebody who didn't really express themselves for a year or two to smile and to engage with something was really lovely, and I decided that if they can do that for my nan, then why can't they do that for other people? And that's our goal with the therapy, is to just bring something back to people who need a smile.